So this is my first video for a little while, and I wanted to use it to introduce my latest range of models, which are basically the Great Western Railway standard 65-foot turntable with a number of variants. And here we are in Trainz in Surveyor, and I've just loaded all the variants in, and I'm going to go through those in a minute. But the reason why I wanted to do this turntable in this way, and let's just select that one, which is the basic one, and put a new copy of it down here, and let's zoom in a bit. The reason why I wanted to do this was because turntables, if they use the cut through the ground level in order to create the pit, it means that you have to use the dighole command, and that's limited basically to the 10-meter squares. And I'm not sure if you can get it down to the 5-meter squares, but certainly as far as versions that I've got, it's a 10-meter square dighole. And the other concomitant with that is the turntable then has to be snapped into the grid, the ground grid, which means you've got no real flexibility as to positioning it just wherever you wish. So I've created this version of the GWR 65-foot standard 65-foot turntable, and this is the single road 2-exit version. And if I just go to move it around a bit, you'll see it can go anywhere. And there are a number of compromises that I've had to make in order to allow this to happen. And the most important one is that nothing extends below the level of the ground of the 0 feet height. So therefore the pit is just the ground, and the depth of the pit is notional really. It is just the depth of the surround, which has just got a basic ballast texture on it. And you can see there that the rail that the turntable runs on is just about at it's about 5 inches high off the ground there, but it all matches up with the 11.5 inches height of the top of the rail for all forms of Trainz track, or the usual Trainz track. And if I just go over here to the track, and I mean this is the ordinary Trainz, let's take the Trainz concrete track, there we are, and let's just add some track in, concrete sleeper track, and there we are. And I'm also using it as version 2.7 as opposed to 3.5 or above for Trainz and later versions, and that's so that it's compatible with a command which was lost in the higher versions, which was that you could stipulate the track. And had I not stipulated the track, then it would have picked up this type of track and reproduced it underneath the turntable. Okay, so it all looks rather strange with the terrain like that. So what you would do with my this will act as an ordinary turntable, as we'll see shortly, and all you need to do really is then to go into textures, find yourself a decent, I've got a black ballast texture there highlighted already, and I would take the scale right down and also the radius right down. Okay, and just use the direction here. I tend to hold down the key, or just do it at odd intervals just to give a bit of randomness about it. And you just basically want to texture the ground, so you've got to lose the ground texture, and it's all part of blending it into the rest of your scenery. And textures actually are also fixed to the grid, as you can see here. They only appear when you hit those crosshairs of the ground grid. But essentially what I've done there is I've textured the inside of the pit. Now I know it's not perfect, I know doesn't give you as much depth, apparent depth, as you might like, but I think the trade-off between that and being able to position a turntable anywhere is really quite significant. I think that's quite really helpful. And so let's go into driver, just for me to demonstrate. So we'll just save that. Let's go into driver, and I've got all the different types of turntables that are developed from that single one row free roaming view is what we want. So this is the one I just put in, and you can see there's one here, and I just haven't put the textures in, and it's actually using the wood version of the tame track. And there we go, traveling around. So it's pretty straightforward. There is an exit at 0 degrees and an exit at 180 degrees. So it's a straightforward turntable just for rotating around the turning a locomotive just 180 degrees. So that's my starting point, but I'm offering a range of 8 different versions of this. And what I did is I looked into Lyons's book about Great Western engine sheds, and flicking through that I made a note of the most common different turntable types. So that's with one road, 2 exits. This is 2 roads and 2 exits, and these are 10 degrees apart. I've given that 10 degree spacing, and obviously the track, I've just put anything in the way of track there just to show it connecting up. But you can see here it's just going to do 10 degrees. Let's try and persuade it to go the other way. There we are. And it'll go right round, of course, as well if you want to rotate it all the way around. And it'll stop at this one, and then it'll stop at this one here. So that's the 2 road. And then let's see what other types. Well, I did find there was an example of a 2 road 90 degree table. So I've modelled that. With some of them you get this strange effect here. It may just be my PC, or maybe my version of Tane or whatever, but you get that sort of, and I've found that's pretty much the case, not just with my turntables but all turntables on my PC, so it may just be that. So that's the 2. Well, logically let's go up from 2 and we get a 3 road 6 exit turntable. Start with it. There we are. And if that doesn't suit you, then there's this one which I found. I forget which station that's at or which shed it's at, but these are all based on actual sheds. So the 10 degrees, that's a 10 degree, that's at 0, that's at 10 degrees, that's at 350 degrees. But these are at 0, 60, 120, 180, 180, 240, 300. And again, I did find this as an example. I forget now which shed that was. But it's to give you as much flexibility as possible. I couldn't work out how to adjust it so that I could just move them around anywhere, so that's beyond me. So that's why I decided to do this range. So from 3 we go up to 4, and you can see there's a couple more yet. And these are again at 10 degrees. So you get 0 here, and then going around clockwise 10 degrees, and then 160, 170, 180, 190, 340, 350 and 0. And if you've got 4, why not have 5? Again, I've done these because I found examples in the list of Great Western Railway standard, Great Western Railway loco depots. And again, with all of these, all you do is you just colour in, put texture in the inside there, and you can blend them in quite nicely. And then the final one, which has got this little class 14 XX on, very nice model. Forget whose that is now, so it's not mine. Very nice little model. Really like that class of engine. And then this is the 14 row 28 exit version of the Great Western standard 65 foot turntable. Again, these are at 12 degree positions around the circle, except when you get to there. When I looked at them on the plans, I found that there was the, if you imagine the cross of tracks, so right to left, top to bottom, across, and then there were 3 tracks each side, and then you had and then there was a noticeable wider gap there between the groups, so you have 4 groups, and so these are at 12 degrees, and then whatever's left goes in that space there, and there you are, you can see them going round. And this was used, I think, only inside the large Great Western roundhouses, which are actually square. But you know what I mean, they were used for the very large engines. So like at Old Oak Common there are a couple of these, and I think in Bristol, anywhere where there was a large loco depot. And so if I just go back with this, just get that angle right, and once more, and once more, and let's pick up that loco and zoom in a bit, and let's just see, might as well have a loco on it. This will take a King class with tender, so it's pretty standard for most Great Western locos. The first one appears to have been about 1890, 1900. I may be wrong there, probably am. There we are, and the driver of the fireman, of course, would try and balance it on the middle of the table to make it easy to swing it round. And there we go. Isn't that nice? And having done that, then it's off to shed. I'm just hoping it's not going to derail or do anything silly. I have tested all these, but you never know. So we wait with bated breath. No, it's going to be alright, that's good. So there we are. I'll just leaving the turntable, leave it in position there. So just looking back, let's go back into free roaming view. So these are going to be on the next update of my website, available for a free download, and that will be within a day or so. So certainly by the 16th of November 2022, and I'll put this video on there as well, just to remind you how to texture it in, but it is pretty straightforward. You just choose whichever texture you want to add to blend it in, and as I say, I think I've covered most, I would say about 95% of the configurations of these 65-foot turntables across the Great Western system. If you have a configuration, there were a few others where you'd have, say, like this one over here, and then you had an additional single exit coming off here. I'm not going to get too caught up in that, but if there is a major group which I've missed out, then please contact me and I'll aim to fill the gap. So I think overall this is a useful addition to the my range of Great Western Railway models, and you're very welcome to download and use them. Just while I'm making this video, I'm still working on my Great Western Railway steam rail motor. That is just about getting into, it's in Trainz, but it's getting into its first trial being tested out, and alongside with that I'm also got another 65-foot turntable, and this is the one that was at Snow Hill, Birmingham Snow Hill station, and that wasn't built by the Great Western, that was Ransom's and Rapier of Ipswich, so it's a slightly different look, and that'll be out maybe by Christmas, hopefully. Just depends how I get on with it, what time I can devote to these. So there we are, a number of 65 versions of the 65-foot turntable for the Great Western Railway for Trainz Rail Sim. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, queries, comments, or about these turntables, then please let me know, and you'll be very welcome to download them free of charge. Of course, all my models are freeware, but I don't do requests and I don't do reskins of my own stuff. I don't allow that. So please do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and look out for my next video, which hopefully will show the Great Western Railway steam rail motor actually operating in Trainz.